Alright guys, so in this video we're going to be going over a little truth or false to some catfishing. What I mean by that is I'm going to ask a series of questions, actually 5 questions in this video, and we're going to determine if they are true or false. So it should be a lot of fun, it should be a learning experience, and kind of neat to do. I'm excited about doing it. So at any point, if you like doing this, because I'm thinking about making this into a series, any point in the video you start liking it, please leave a thumbs up, and that'll let me know if you guys want me to make a little series out of this, maybe a 4 or 5 video series. And if you guys have any questions that you would like to see asked and answered, true or false, leave in the comments of this video, and I will get those into a future video. So let's get started. Number 1, you have to have big bait to catch big catfish. This one is false, guys. Some of the best and well-known, respected catfishermen all over the world is going to tell you that, as a matter of fact, there's several times throughout the year that you need to downsize your bait to even catch fish, period, let alone a big fish. There are times where they will hit big baits, and if they are hitting big baits, by all means, you need to be using big baits. But this is not a set in stone only way to catch big catfish. Like I said, you need to downsize your bait sometimes, kind of match the hatch. If they're after all these dead shad that are dying off like they are in my area right now, these shad are, you know, a couple inches to maybe about this size. I don't need to be throwing big skipjacks. People using big skipjacks right now are probably having a hard time catching these catfish because they're keened in on that size bait. So try to match the hatch, downsize, use those smaller baits. You are going to catch more fish, and you're going to catch bigger fish by doing that. So, moving on to number 2. A long rod gives you a much further cast. Guys, this one is true. I recently bought a 12-foot rod. I was kind of skeptical before, am I going to get that much more out of it? It's kind of a pain in the hind end to transport. As long as it is, even broke down, it's still like 6 foot long. But I can vouch and say, and I will do a video in the future, of showing you guys I'm getting at least another 100 yards out of the cast. Same reel, no different reel as the one that used to be on my 8-foot rod. Easily an extra 100 yards. And I'm going to explain to you why this is true really quickly. Here, say you put your elbow on the table and you put a little bouncy ball in your hand. You rear back as far as you can and try to throw that ball and see how far you can get out of it. Because from here to here, you only got, you know, your inches. You're not even a whole foot from here to here when you're releasing. Now do the same thing with, put your arm straight up in the air, you know, lock it into place where you're not bent, getting no leverage into it from your arm. Lock it in and just go straight with it. Because, let me raise the camera up here. Okay, now, you did that. Now do the exact same thing by putting your arm straight up, no bend to it whatsoever, so you're not getting no shoulder into it, no back muscles into the throw. Go straight up, lock it into place where you can't get it back very far. You're getting about the same distance going back as you were from here, and just throw that ball. Guys, you got from here to here you've got, you know, close to 3 foot of travel, and what that does for you is allows you to gather more energy, you have more time, and you're able to put more power throughout that time into that throw. From here to here, you ain't got very much time to build up any speed. From here to here, you have much more time to build up that speed. That longer rod gives you that distance where you can build up that time and that speed, and I'm telling you, it will blow your mind at the difference that you can get out there, and it's going to help you reach more spots that you wasn't able to reach before. Okay, so I wanted to throw this one in here. This one is obvious. If you've ever fished for catfish before, this one is super obvious, but I want to make a really good point that this will be like the knowledge side of this video, and that question is, do catfish rely mostly on scent to feed? And this is 100% true. Again, catfish rely mostly on scent to target the bait that they're after to feed, and this is true. Why I wanted to throw this in here though is because when you are throwing your baits out there, this needs to always be in your mind. You know, everyone knows that it is, but make sure you're using it to your advantage, because that's how they're finding your bait. That's how they are going to find your bait. So here I'm going to put an example out for you. So here my chest is the bank. I'm just going to throw a big cast out here. So I've landed here, and say there's like a drop right in here, and I made it just out past that drop. I have a current because they're pulling water today. I have a current coming this way. Now, most of my fish have been coming from this area right here. My bait is here. When that current hits, it's just bringing my bait into the tip of where those fish are at. They're not always over there, but when they are over there, you know, I want to make sure that my bait, the scent from my bait is getting into that area and collecting as much of that area as possible. So what you would need to do in this situation with the current coming this way, bring your bait in, cast about half that length, bring your bait in to where the current is coming this way. It's going to push it right into that area where all those catfish are holding up, whether it be a big down tree over there, a creek bed over there, a place leading into the river channel. Make sure that you are using that, and don't take for granted that it's going to be that way every day, because just because they were pulling water tomorrow, they may stop pulling water, or pulling water today, they may stop tomorrow. The current may turn back and go this way because the wind is, you got a hard wind this way. Ideally, the best current and wind situation for you would be coming, try to coming directly at you or mostly at you. But that's not always the case, and it changes every day. So make sure every single time you throw your bait out there that you're thinking where these fish might be at, and is my scent making it to the biggest portion of that area that it can be. If not, move your bait, make a different cast. It's going to make a world of difference for you. So again, that is true. Catfish do rely mostly on scent, and make sure you're using it to your advantage. Number 4. Now I threw this one in here because I'm kind of torn between it. I'm going to give you guys the correct answer for this, but I'm torn between it. Flathead catfish only eat live bait. Now, this one is obviously false. There's been many people caught flatheads on frozen baits, on cut baits, and different things, including myself. I've caught a few flatheads on frozen bait, not very many. I've caught several flatheads on fresh caught, just caught that day, cut bait, especially cut bluegill that I caught that day. Caught a much greater number than I did with the frozen bait of flatheads. But I do catch the nicer, more quality flatheads on live bait. So that's kind of why I'm torn between it. Because it is not, it's not set in stone that, yeah, they only eat live bait. But it does seem like the bigger ones are eating the live bait. Or the fresh, at least the fresh cut bait. I'm not catching very many decent ones on frozen bait. So, to answer this question, it's false. You can catch flatheads on cut bait, on dead bait, but the bigger ones, in my experience, and a lot of other people's experience, come off of a live bluegill, a live bait, a live presentation. Okay, so before we get into number 5, those of you that watch Monday's video know this is coming, know what this is about. This is to help you win the $30 cash giveaway for helping me reach 400 subscribers. And that question is, in the video named Daytime Catfishing 2019, I went out catfishing for the first time ever before work. I had just a little bit of time before work. I knew I wasn't going to be able to move, so I needed to try to make a good decision on where to fish on that first spot that I picked. And I got out there and time was going by and I wasn't catching anything. I thought I was going to get skunked. How many fish did I catch in that video? That is the question. How many fish did I catch in that video? Again, do not leave the answer to that in the comments of any of the videos. Save your answers. Number 5. Now again, this is kind of like number 4. Torn in between it just because different times of the year. Catfish feed mainly at nighttime. That is the question. So during the winter time, it seems like they feed more so during the day because the water warms up in the shallow, and they're feeding during the day or just into the night. The later it gets into the night, the deader the bite gets, it seems like. In the summertime, the later it gets into the night, the more the bite picks up. It seems like the water cools off and makes those fish more active. So I'm kind of torn in between here, but the statement that they only feed at night or mainly feed at night is false. Throughout the year you can catch them during the day, even in the summertime. But I wanted to add this also to this question. My best time, hands down, throughout the year, wintertime, summertime, fall, spring, is about an hour before sunset and an hour into dark. So that from that time period, I seem to catch more fish than any other time of the night. I fish 4 or 5 hours during the day, not catch but just a couple. Fish well into the night and just catch a couple more. But from that time period is the hottest bite for me, hands down. Also in the comments, I would like for you guys to leave your best time of the day that you guys are catching fish, and I would like to see, maybe is it the same as mine? Is it different? It would be kind of neat to know. Other than that, guys, if you guys, again, if you like this, leave a thumbs up. We will see you in Friday's video. Later, guys.